Hello, everyone. It's a brand new year and a new version of our virtual conference series. This time we're back with Reimagine 2021, here to talk about building our New Year's resolutions. I'm your co-host, Ashlie Meredith, head of education over at MouseBelt Blockchain Accelerator. And we've got another university segment for you. And we're pleased to be joined today by Dr. Joseph Matiko. He's the director of the RAFIC Center, which we'll learn more about in a minute, at Salaam Institute of Technology. Welcome, Joseph. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Ashlie. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, so before we dive in to everything that you're interested in and how you got to where you are today, why don't you tell our viewers exactly what RAFIC is?
Thank you. Yeah, so I think as Ashlie introduced me, my name is Joseph Matiko from the Salaam Institute of Technology. I work as a lecturer and a researcher, and I'm managing this World Bank funded project known as the Regional Flagship ICT Center. In short, it's called RAFIC. Well, the word RAFIC is sounding like a Swahili word, rafiki, which literally means friend. Oh, so the purpose of having this name is basically reflecting what the center is aiming to do. We are basically aiming to establish a very friendly environment for teaching and learning, because we are establishing this center so that we can develop digital skilled workforce in Tanzania and in East African community. So the center is aiming to have state-of-the-art equipment for teaching ICT related skills. So blockchain is among of those skills that will be trained under the RAFIC Center.
I love that. That's so great. So RAFIC stands for
Regional Flagship ICT Center.
And that's information and communication technologies that you're focused on.
Exactly.
And it sounds like the word rafiki, which is Swahili for friendly, and I just love that that part on your website and how welcoming you're trying to be to students and really just create a good environment for them to learn the skills that they need to participate in information and communications technologies. And I saw that you have a lot of very specific goals for the next few years, which is to bolster the current programs that you have, but also build new programs in emerging ICT like Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, big data, blockchain, 3D printing. So that's all really exciting.
Yeah.
And this is funded by the World Bank.
That's correct. Yeah.
Excellent. And is this a interdepartmental initiative? Is it just the computer science department? Are there other departments involved?
Okay, so basically, as I mentioned, the Dar es Salaam Institute of Technology is a technical training institution. So within the Dar es Salaam Institute of Technology, we have a number of departments, and among them is the computer engineering department. We have electronics and telecom department. We also have the department dealing with ICT services and support. And we also have a small ICT center. It's a national ICT center within the institution. So the RAFIC is basically going to be an initiative that will be supported by all these departments. And we are going to form like a center of excellence, combining the key staff and the facilities and the resources we have. We pull them together, and by the support of the government and the funding from the World Bank, I think we are going to establish really a flagship ICT center that will have cutting edge technologies and the skilled staff. So yeah, it will be within the institution, supported by all the departments related to ICT.
Well, that's excellent. I think it's so important, especially with emerging technologies like blockchain, to have a lot of cross-campus uh, collaboration, and that's something that we've always tried to drive at MouseBelt University. So I don't know if you're super familiar with MouseBelt University, and for anyone tuning in, if you're a student, if you're looking for resources, if you want to get involved in a community of students working on blockchain, come check us out at mousebelt.university. But we have a global audience tuning in of students and entrepreneurs. So I always like to ask our interviewees kind of tell us your story about how you got to where you are. How did you become interested in computer science? And at this point, when did you first get interested in blockchain?
Yeah, it's a long story. I started my undergrad in electronics and telecom, and well, before that I had my secondary education. So one of the area that I was really interested in is computer science and electronics and telecom in general, because by that time the telecom and computer were very new fields in the country. So that's why I was really keen and very excited to join programs related to computer science and telecom and telecom engineering and electronics in general. So when I finished my secondary education, then I had to select the computer related programs. So I joined the college and I took electronics and telecom, and then after that I continued with my further studies abroad, where I took wireless communication at master's level, and then I did my PhD in computer science. So it's really an exciting area to be in, and yeah, there are a lot of opportunities, and the area has a lot of potentials. Yeah, so I think I really like my choice. The selection I made was, I feel like it was the right decision uh, to make.
So I'm just curious, what did you do your PhD? What was the research that you were focused on? What kinds of problems in computer science were most interesting to you?
Well, in my PhD, my research had two aspects. One aspect was to investigate the how to power small computer and electronic devices using ambient energy. So how do we harvest energy from the surroundings, from our surrounding environments, to power small electronic devices? As we know, we have this Internet of Things, so we'll have a lot of small gadgets. All these gadgets will most likely need to be powered, and some of them is really a bit tricky to power them using the main grid. So instead, we have to power them using like batteries. So instead of powering using batteries, then I was trying to investigate if there are other alternatives of powering these small scale devices that are consuming very low power. So I had to make some investigations on understanding the energy levels from different sources, including the ambient lights, including vibrations, air flows. So that was really an exciting area, because I did a study to measure energy levels from all these energy sources. The other aspect was now to try to power at least one of the gadgets. So the other area I was interested in was the signal processing, and I had to develop like very small sensors for doing signal processing and trying to reduce the energy consumption and the power that device using the energy harvested from the from the ambient the energy sources. So eventually I had to do a small gadget for processing brainwaves. So I don't know if you know the is EEG. So we read the brainwaves. So you put sensors on the head,
Right.
and then you measure the signals from the brain, and then you process them. So my area of interest was to try to understand emotions, extracting emotions from the brain waves. So that was also really very interesting that we managed it to process, to measure the brain signals and process the brain signals and measure the level of emotions if a person is happy or sad. And the good thing, the device was powered using the ambient energy. So that was my area of research. It was really interesting.
That is so interesting. I have to say that for one, my thesis in graduate school focused on moral psychology and the morality of certain kinds of emotions,
Okay.
negative emotions like anger. So
Mhm.
it's just great that we both are, interested in emotions from a very scientific standpoint and then very,
Yeah.
very philosophical standpoint, but also, our team at MouseBelt used to work on RFID technology and software, and we have partners in MouseBelt Blockchain Education Alliance who do Internet of Things. So just super interesting how blockchain can apply to that as well. And we have researchers who work with us at UC Davis who are working on microcomputing for being able to
Okay.
put all of these readings that all of these smart devices are going to start these thousands of transactions we're going to have, putting that on the
Mhm.
blockchain. So there's just so much great research happening out there. And for anyone just tuning in to our Reimagine 2020 conference series, definitely recommend heading over to our YouTube channel and smashing that subscribe button and checking out some of the other university segments that we have. But yeah, so thanks for sharing that. Just to kind of talk to students a little bit more, what's some advice that you give students who come to you who say, they're interested in a particular field? I think that your story was great about seeing a new industry in Tanzania, right? And knowing like that's what I want to work on. I think a lot of students are seeing blockchain and this idea of borderless payments as something that might be a new industry in Tanzania. What would you say to students who are interested in pursuing emerging technologies? Or blockchain?
Yeah, I think I would say, particularly in blockchain, I think I would say the blockchain technology has really great potential. And I see there are a lot of applications that will be developed around the blockchain ecosystem. So I think my advice is to encourage the students to understand the technology and for those who are interested in development, my advice is to ensure that they understand the technology and understand the development techniques and develop some solutions around the blockchain technology. Basically, that's what we do here, and that's what we are planning to do. Perhaps I will highlight a bit later what we are planning to do. But my advice is to look up the projects, the upcoming projects, a lot of blockchain technology projects. So the students, my advice is to encourage them to get involved in technological development or maybe in hackathons or maybe get involved in developing distributed applications around some of these emerging blockchain projects. I think by so doing, you develop the skills that are really needed in developing blockchain solutions. And I think there are huge potentials. I think particularly in Africa, I see there are a number of applications around the blockchain technology in health services, in education, in banking, in finance, and so many other areas. So having the relevant skills will really will give you a very bright future and a lot of opportunities to use and apply the skills that you have acquired. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. that's definitely always our advice to students too, is, you know, just get your hands dirty. And if you're not a technical person, a lot of these students are interested in finance or business, and they start a blockchain club on their campus, and they really educate themselves on the industry, because we also need people who are able to communicate what blockchain is, and they're getting jobs in the industry now. So I think there's big opportunity for careers in blockchain, and if you're a developer, just start building stuff. And yeah, great advice. So you mentioned some of the opportunities, particularly maybe in your region, and you are building this regional center. So for our global audience tuning in, I just kind of want to give them more of a taste of what the blockchain temperature is in Tanzania. What kind of opportunities are you seeing? What are people most interested in? What is the adoption or innovation like at this stage?
Yeah, I think in Tanzania, excuse me. I think in Tanzania the blockchain technology is I would say is a relatively new technology. I think there are a few early adapters that have already jumped into the technology, trying to understand the technology. But most of them, I think they are more interested on the cryptocurrencies. A few are trying to understand the underlying technology and the key building blocks of the blockchain technology. So I think in general, I would say the awareness in general is not that high, but I think over time, I believe many people will be aware of the technology, and the academic institution and training institutions will also try to adapt the technology and perhaps start teaching some blockchain courses at the institution, at the universities and colleges. So I think there are some initiatives at individual level that a few people are getting involved in the blockchain initiatives, including um, doing like cryptocurrencies, creating awareness. There are some courses on trading and so on. But generally, I think the awareness is not as high as many other parts of the world, I would say.
Yeah, well, perhaps RAFIC can be part of changing that, and building that awareness, and you know, MouseBelt would love to support any of your efforts there. So maybe we can talk more about what the specific goals of the center are, and what you think the future holds, and how you might approach building blockchain awareness through RAFIC.
Yeah, so I think under RAFIC, we focusing on establishing the teaching and learning environment, as I said, very, very friendly teaching and learning environment for digital skills development, because the ICT is really potential. It has a really potential creating new jobs and so on and so forth. So for RAFIC in particular, we are aiming to develop to review the existing courses that we have at our institution, but also to develop new courses that will include like emerging technologies, as you mentioned earlier, like blockchain, Internet of Things, big data. And I think we will also focus on the area of cybersecurity. That's also another area that we are interested in. So specifically for the blockchain, what we are aiming to do is to first include some courses in our curriculum. Actually, we have done that this year. We have reviewed one of the master courses, and we have included blockchain as a module in the program. So we formally started training that. Through that, we believe we will create capacity, we build capacity to our students, and slowly we create awareness to the to the Tanzanians and all the people that will participate in the courses. But the other initiative that we plan to do is to have like a blockchain research initiative where we will try to understand the technology, understand all the building blocks of the blockchain, starting from the peer-to-peer network and the associated communication and protocols, try to understand the consensus algorithms, and try to understand, excuse me, try to understand the um, uh, the distributed ledger technologies and the distributed ledger data structure and so on and so forth. So all these, once we understand them, then we can start developing solutions, and also we can develop some applications that can be used to provide the various services. And so the other thing that we really want to do is to create awareness among the members of the public. We want to create awareness in a sense that most people, they are confusing the blockchain technology and the cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is just a small application of the blockchain technology. So we want to ensure that people have a good understanding of the cryptocurrency and the blockchain technology. There are some governments or some organizations that are still not accepting or are happy with the cryptocurrency, but they're confusing the cryptocurrency with the blockchain, because the blockchain can be applicable in so many other areas. So one of the aspects of the role of the regional flagship ICT center is to create awareness, to make sure that people understand the differences between the cryptocurrency and the blockchain, and also explain the potentials that the blockchain technology has and how it can be applicable in many other areas, including in the health sector, in the education sector, and so many other areas. So I think by so doing, we, as a training institution, as a regional flagship ICT center, it's a public, by the way, it is a public training institution. So we have the law also to advise the government on effective ways that they can utilize the potentials that the blockchain technology has.
Yeah, that's so excellent. And I mean, that is the whole battle right now with blockchain and cryptocurrency. I think a lot of countries still have kind of negative perception of the technology because they've associated cryptocurrency with criminals or something, or the regulatory bodies are really cracking down in the US even right now on some of these platforms. So definitely educating on what the technology can do and all of its different applications is going to be super important. It's really exciting to hear that you've already had classes on campus and master's classes. I was just curious if you had any insight if students are building any sort of projects, or if anyone on your campus is doing some blockchain research, or if there's any specific interests that they have expressed for particular kinds of products or services, like what's being built, what's being researched, or what do people want to build?
Okay, yeah, I think as I said, we're just starting, and we have mobilized. We have a small team of staff here at the DIT that are interested in the technology. So we are in the early stage of brainstorming and trying to understand and try to organize ourselves and decide what specifically we should do. So I'm among the staff that are interested in the blockchain technology. So personally, I've been involved in a number of blockchain projects. I'm interested in a number of blockchain projects. So I have tried to understand them from the technological point of view, trying to understand the technology that are being used to build those projects. So I have been trying to investigate the codes that are used, the technology, the techniques that are used to develop some of those blockchain projects. So I have identified a few blockchain projects that I'm trying to follow up very closely because I feel like they have a huge potential. So I have also been involved in developing like wallets, trying is a way of trying to understand the underlying technology. So somehow to build something, I have to be involved in development. So I have developed some wallets for some of the blockchain technologies. The primary purpose is basically to help me understand the underlying technology. Because as an educator or as a researcher, before I really start train or teach, I really have to have a very strong understanding on the technology so that I can train my students with confidence and also encourage them to get involved in building stuff and, experimenting things. By so doing, I think they will have a very good understanding. So we are in the very early stage of trying to organize ourselves. And we have, as I said, individual initiatives of developing or getting involved in a number of projects. But soon we will reorganize ourselves and make like a research team or a research group that we will have some specific focus and some specific areas of research, and also will involve students, undergraduates and master's students, and we will encourage them to take some projects and get involved in blockchain development.
Yeah, well, that's so exciting. And also, great advice to students too. If you really want to understand this technology, go try to build a wallet for a
Yeah,
protocol that you like.
yeah.
Yeah, that's so great. Well, kind of to round out our conversation, then, this is our first conference of the year. We want to say Happy New Year to everyone and kind of ask people, what are your New Year's resolutions, or what are you really looking forward to, or even just what are some predictions or things that you hope to see in the future for yourself, your program, or blockchain in general?
I think I personally think that I would like to see the future with full of skilled students and staff, particularly in the blockchain area. Of course, in many other areas, but the blockchain being among of them. So I would like to see that we have highly qualified blockchain developers in Tanzania and in Africa. I would like to see that some of our students developing some blockchain systems and applications around the blockchain. And finally, I would like to see that the blockchain technologies is adapted by the government in developing different services that by so doing will have secure service delivery mechanisms that are operating on top of the blockchain technology.
Yeah, absolutely. 2021, let's get some skilled developers out of Tanzania building blockchain, getting jobs in blockchain industry and beyond in information and communication technologies. Well, Joseph, it's been so great talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us and telling us all about RAFIC and the blockchain developments going on in Tanzania, and really looking forward to hearing more of your developments in the future.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Everyone, stay tuned for more from Reimagine 2021, Biddling Your Crypto Revolutions.